Hey. Chronic, left, right, Jaco, Jaco, left, right, hey, ooh, yeah, boy.
And a heavy load to carry. Knowing more than the surface can sometimes be a difficult journey. The deeper you look into life's mysteries, the more you see the reality behind appearances, and that's not always easy to handle. Here are 7 harsh truths that highly spiritual people will struggle with, but eventually overcome. Existential crisis. In the heart of spiritual growth, there often lies an existential crisis, a dark night of the soul that each seeker must endure. It is a rite of passage, a descent into the shadowy depths of one's own being. This stage is unavoidable because it is here in the darkness, where the roots of our spirit delve deep into the earth, seeking the nourishment necessary for the soul to flourish. The existential crisis is your soul's summons to a deeper truth, a call to journey into the uncharted territories of your own consciousness. It is an invitation to question, to seek, and to yearn for answers to the fundamental mysteries of existence. This crisis, as disorienting as it may be, serves a divine purpose. It strips away the superficial, revealing to us the essence of who we truly are and what is genuinely important. During this phase, you may find that the very ground beneath your feet begins to shift. What once provided comfort no longer satisfies. Old habits that once seemed harmless now reveal their destructive nature. This is not a punishment, but a process of purification and clarification. As your inner landscape changes, so too will your outer world. Relationships, occupations, and pastimes that do not align with your emerging truth will naturally fall away. This process, while painful, is necessary for growth. It is the shedding of old skin, allowing for the new to emerge. Loss is inherent in this process. Friends who once walked closely by your side may no longer recognize you or wish to journey with you on this new path. It is natural to grieve these losses and feel the pain of their departure. Yet within this pain lies a powerful seed of transformation. As you move through the dark night of the soul, you may feel as if life has lost its meaning. You might feel as though your very existence is in danger due to an inner sense of turmoil and pain. This is the crucible of your transformation, the fire that burns away all that is false, leaving only truth in its wake. The fruits of this journey are manifold, but they require your willingness to accept and learn from these challenges. It is in embracing this darkness, rather than fleeing from it, that you allow your spirit to undergo the metamorphosis that is necessary for true growth. You are being reshaped, remolded from the inside out, and crafted into a vessel capable of holding a purer form of consciousness. The complexity of truth. As a spiritual seeker, you may yearn for absolute truths. However, the more you explore, the more you will find that truth is not always black and white. The spiritual journey is filled with paradoxes and complexities that can be difficult to grasp, and what is true for one person may not be for another. In many spiritual traditions, it is acknowledged that what is true on one level of reality may not be true on another. The truths of the physical world, for example, may not hold in the realm of the spiritual. A statement that is a profound truth in one context might be irrelevant in another. This is where the paradox begins. The complexity of truth also implies a degree of mystery and unknowability. There are aspects of the divine and the universe that are beyond human comprehension. Rather than seeing this as a limitation, it can be viewed as an invitation to explore the vastness of our own ignorance. In a world that often demands black and white answers, this openness can be challenging. Society frequently rewards those who claim to have clear-cut solutions and definitive knowledge. However, when we look at the most profound spiritual teachers throughout history, we see that they often spoke in parables and stories that invited contemplation and personal interpretation, rather than presenting fixed doctrines. So embracing this complexity, means making peace with doubt and uncertainty. Doubt can be a powerful tool for growth, prompting us to question, to delve deeper, and to not accept things at face value. Uncertainty can keep us humble and open to new possibilities. It can prevent the spiritual ego from becoming entrenched in its own perceived enlightenment. On your journey, you may discover that some of the beliefs you once held dear no longer serve you. This is a natural part of the evolution of your soul. With each layer of complexity, you gain a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, the impermanence of form, and the eternal nature of consciousness. Difficulty finding love. The quest for deep, meaningful love is often one of the most profound struggles for those walking a spiritually awakened path. When your soul yearns for a connection that transcends the ordinary, that goes beyond the physical and into the realms of the spiritual and soulful, the journey can feel lonely. You seek not just a partner, but a soulmate. I don't mean soulmate as a predestined partner, but rather someone who resonates with your highest self. Your awakening has led you to understand that love is not just an emotion or a physical connection. It is a sacred union, a meeting of souls, and an energy that enriches and elevates. You recognize that every interaction carries the weight of energy exchange, and casual connections no longer satisfy the deeper longing within you. This can indeed make the search for love feel more daunting. In a world that often prizes instant gratification over deep bonding, where swiping left or right has become the norm for finding a mate, your awakened self craves more. You want conversations that stretch into the night, filled with musings about the universe and the essence of being. You seek someone who is not just a lover, but a fellow traveler on the path of enlightenment, someone who understands that love is a spiritual practice, and so it becomes not just about finding love, but about attracting the kind of love that reflects your innermost self. It is about remaining true to your awakened spirit and not compromising on the values and depth you have discovered within yourself. This fidelity to your soul's needs may narrow the path, but it also elevates the journey. It is essential, therefore, to first pour love into oneself. The more you nurture and understand your essence, the more you glow with an inner light that can attract someone who values depth over superficiality. Cultivating self-love creates a foundation for a relationship that is not just about finding a match for your physical presence, but for your soul's presence. This path requires patience. It requires faith, not just in the universe, but in the divine timing of your life. The longing you feel is a signal, a call out into the universe for that kindred spirit. Remember, the universe operates not on our desired schedules, but on a divine timeline that understands when we are truly ready. Ready not just to find love, but to embrace and nurture it. In the meantime, the love that you seek from another is also seeking you. The connections you desire are forming, unseen, preparing to manifest at just the right moment. So whilst for a soulful partner can use, let the love you carry within you be a gift to the world. Let it spill over into your interactions, your creativity, your service to others. In this way, you become a beacon of love, and this light is what will ultimately guide your true love to you. The reality of suffering. One of the most profound truths that spiritual individuals face is the reality of suffering. No matter how advanced one becomes on their spiritual path, suffering is an inescapable part of the human experience. It's a theme that interconnects all lives, and yet it is often the aspect of existence that many of us fear, resist, or misunderstand the most. To embrace the full spectrum of life, including its trials and tribulations, is to open ourselves to the profound teachings that suffering can offer. Suffering comes in many forms: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. It can be as obvious as the pain of a physical injury or as subtle as the ache of a longing heart. Despite its universal nature, suffering is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs. Yet, if we are to grow and mature on our spiritual path, understanding and learning from suffering is crucial. The spiritual approach to suffering is not about seeking it out or glorifying it in any way. Rather, it's about recognizing its role in our evolution. When we experience suffering, it has the potential to crack the surface of our ego, to reveal the deeper layers of our being, and to remind us of our shared vulnerability. Suffering can tear down the walls we've built around our hearts and open us up to a more profound sense of compassion and empathy for ourselves and others. Moreover, suffering is often a catalyst for transformation. It can shake us from complacency, prompting us to question our life's direction, our values, and our purpose. It encourages us to seek new perspectives and to find strength and resilience we may not have known we possessed. The wisdom traditions of the world teach us that the key to dealing with suffering is not to escape it, but to go through it with awareness. This means acknowledging our pain, sitting with it, understanding its roots, and learning what it has to teach us. It's about finding the delicate balance between accepting suffering as a part of life and not becoming identified with it. In other words, we recognize that while we may experience suffering, we are not defined by it. To integrate suffering into our spiritual journey is to allow it to teach us the art of surrender, to let go of what we cannot control, and to focus our energy on what we can influence. It teaches us to be present with what is, rather than what we wish would be. And in that presence, we often find the seeds of healing and growth. Through acts of service, compassion, and kindness, we transform our individual suffering into collective healing, which is a powerful step towards spiritual maturity. The challenge of letting go. The spiritual journey is a profound venture into the unknown, a path laden with challenges that often seem to contradict the very instincts we have as human beings. One such challenge is the act of letting go, which, while seemingly simple, can be one of the most complex and demanding tasks we face. Letting go is not merely a physical release, but a metaphysical one. It's about releasing the tight grip our minds and egos have on ideas, desires, and attachments. This includes letting go of material possessions, outdated beliefs, old grudges, and past disappointments, anything that hinders our spiritual growth and freedom. Why is letting go so difficult? Our ego, which is the sense of a separate self, is built on attachment. It finds identity in the past and security in the familiar. Our psyche is wired to cling to experiences, relationships, and identities that it has grown accustomed to, even when they no longer serve us or cause us pain. This clinging gives us an illusory sense of control and safety. Letting go requires us to confront the unknown, to embrace uncertainty, and to trust in the unfolding of life. It asks us to surrender to a greater wisdom, a universal flow that governs all of existence. The practice of letting go is deeply interwoven with the practice of trust. Trusting the process of life requires a leap of faith, a faith that doesn't rest on the predictability of outcomes, but on the inherent goodness of the universe. When we let go, we make room for new experiences, opportunities, and perspectives to enter our lives. It's about creating space for growth and expansion. Letting go also means forgiving ourselves and others. Forgiveness is a release of the heavy burden of resentment and animosity, which can block the flow of spiritual energy in our lives. Through forgiveness, we liberate ourselves from the chains of negative past experiences and open our hearts to the healing power of love. Each act of letting go is a lesson in humility and an acknowledgement of the transient nature of all things. It is a practice that aligns us with the truth that everything is impermanent, and that our true essence is not found in the external trappings of life, but in the depths of our being. The work of self-reflection. The journey within is not always a comfortable one. Highly spiritual people often find that self-reflection requires them to confront parts of themselves that they may not like. Self-reflection is an art, a sacred dialogue with oneself. It involves turning inward, peering into the places within us that are often veiled in darkness, the fears, insecurities, and suppressed emotions that reside in what Carl Jung termed the shadow. This shadow is not just a repository of negative traits, but also of potential gifts, unexplored talents and energies that have been pushed aside in our quest for social acceptance. Engaging in shadow work, then, is a commitment to truth. It requires us to acknowledge that our darker characteristics are as much a part of us as our virtues. This acknowledgement is not an act of self-condemnation, but an embrace of the totality of our being. It is in the soil of this acceptance that the seeds of transformation are sown. The process of self-reflection and shadow work is an excavation. It is digging deep into the psyche to unearth the roots of our behaviors and emotions. It's about asking the hard questions. Why do I react this way? What am I truly afraid of? Where did this belief about myself originate? This is the work of warriors, for it takes a stout heart to face oneself completely. In this inner work, we are not looking to discard parts of ourselves or to create a new persona. Rather, we are seeking to integrate all aspects of our being into a harmonious whole. As spiritual beings, we are called not to perfection, but to wholeness. This wholeness encompasses the light and the dark, the seen and the unseen, the known and the mysterious. It is in the embrace of this wholeness that we find the truest expression of freedom. An endless journey. The spiritual journey often begins with the misconception that there is a finite end, a pinnacle of enlightenment that, once reached, will render us complete, our quest concluded. But the reality of the spiritual path is far different, and indeed, far more beautiful. It is an endless journey, not a destination. This journey is just like the flow of a river, constantly moving, constantly changing, and never exactly the same in any two moments. Learning to embrace the fluid nature of life and our personal development is central to spiritual growth. It's in the perpetual flow where we find the essence of our existence, not in any static state of arrival. The spiritual path is not about becoming someone else, but about continuously becoming more profoundly and authentically ourselves. Each moment presents an opportunity to learn, to expand, to deepen our understanding of who we are and how we connect to the world around us. If the concept of never-ending improvement feels daunting, consider the alternative, a stagnation of spirit, a life devoid of discovery, a journey cut short. The ongoing nature of the journey, vibrant and exciting. The realization that there is no ultimate state of enlightenment to achieve frees us from the pressure of arriving and allows us to fully engage with the process itself. Becoming a master or reaching enlightenment, shift and evolve as you do. Enlightenment is not a permanent state to achieve. It's a series of moments, insights, and experiences that enlighten us to new aspects of our existence. It is not the cessation of learning, but the embrace of continuous growth. This journey is not without its challenges. There will be highs and lows, successes and failures, joys and sorrows. Yet it's through this spectrum of experience that we come to appreciate the fullness of life. As you continue on your path, let this knowledge be your guide and your comfort. The journey is endless, and that is not a burden, but a gift, the precious gift of eternal becoming. I hope these words bring some light into your soul. If you're still with me, I would like to thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. Right back at it like I left something. It's your hostess with the mostest, burning like toast. This is Cosmonian. As always, right back at it like I left something. This is Jehovah Chronicles. Y'all gotta excuse the wind is blowing crazy out here today. You dig what I'm saying? So y'all just rock with me. But the wind is going. So if y'all hear that wind cutting in the background, that's just what that is. But this is Jehovah Chronicles number 90. Actually, it's more than that, but it's some videos that I didn't I left it, you know, that I did it on other people's channels or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's number 90, y'all. Number 90. This one is called Spiritalis. What had happened was I had delved off into this book before, but I didn't save it on my Google Drive. So when I got a new phone, I lost it. So I had shout out to my little sis JBC. You dig what I'm talking about? Came through right back on time with the book Spiritalis. You dig what I'm talking about? For many who don't know, the writer or compiler of the text of oahspe, right, is John Balu Newborough, right? And he was a what you would call medium, you know. From this, we're gonna be able to do a little math and show from how long JBN was into his mediumship when he got into this. Right now, one of the things and why I even wanted to bring this book out in the first place, right? Y'all hit me with a 1 in the chat if y'all can see that. Y'all hit me with a 1 in the chat real quick if y'all can see that. This is the book Spiritalis, right? 7 years before oahspe was channeled or compiled by JBN, he wrote a book about spirits, right? Where him being a medium, he was questioning the people who were other mediums and the spirits, right? So he basically did an interview with the spirits. Now, the crazy part is this is 7 years before there was an oahspe. Now, y'all gonna listen to this information and be dumbfounded, right? Now, and remember, this is JBN asking the questions, right? He is not the person or the spirit speaking, and he is not under some mediumship at that time and is not speaking. He is asking the questions. One reason why I brought this book up and wanted to show it and why I think it's special is for the simple fact it reveals that Mr. oahspe himself, Mr. No God, no Lord, no Savior, no Messiah, Mr. God is not the creator himself, did not believe in spirit. What? What? JBN didn't believe none of this. Look, this is amazing to me. Mr. Big Bad oahspe. They try to make this guy out to be everything, right? But a child of God, man, and come to find out, right? Well, we find anyways, there was a 10-year purification process for JBN to go through to purge himself of any of his lower desires prior to being able to even be in the position to get the download to automatically write the oahspe text, right? He had to be prepped. You know what I mean? He had to be purified. He had to be taken through the fire. You dig what I'm talking about? And primarily that was with doing good works to other people and his diet. You dig what I'm talking about? The angels came to JBN in 1870 to prep him, right? So 4 years into this process, we see JBN still don't believe it. Watch this. This is spiritalis, meaning questions and answers from the spirit world, or spirits interviewed. What shall a breath topple down our dear religions? Quoted John Ballou, Newborough, New York, 1874, republished by the Essenes of Cosmology, 1945. Now, I'm going to read this preface, right? Because this is very telling. Now, mind you, this is written by JBN himself, right? No cap. So if we want to hear anything, it's always good to get it out the horse's mouth himself, right out the horse's mouth. You see what I'm saying? So let's go see. Let's go dig into this preface. The doctrine, my countrymen, that is it. Give us the doctrine first. Every fool can argue for or against it. What we want to know is, what is the good of it? So they asking the proper questions already off the top. What good is it? What is it all about? Has not Huxley said of spiritualism and its manifestations that, supposing the phenomena to be genuine, they do not interest me? This is Huxley. If anybody would endow me with the faculty of listening to the chatter of old women and curates at the nearest cathedral town, I would decline the privilege, having better things to do. Look at Huxley. He don't believe none of this shit neither. And if the folks in the spiritual world do not talk more wisely and sensibly than their friends report them to do, I put them in the same category. And do not our friends say, this is JBN, do not speaking about his friends, do not our friends say, well, if spiritualism is true, what of it? So what? Now, I do not argue for or against this matter. What you mean, JBN? You ain't made your mind up yet? Oh, see, they try to, they claim JBN. See, the uninitiated, those who, claim to want truth and yet won't search for it. Those who are terrified of picking up oahspe. You dig what I'm talking about? Those running and ducking from the creator gang, right? We see they say that JBN made all this up. They said JBN was a charlatan. He was a demon conjurer. He called up the Canaanite gods. He even called up Paul and the Flavians. No. JBN is a regular man just like us, and this stuff is hard to believe. The nigga who wrote oahspe say, I don't argue for it or against it. My mind is what? Not made up for that. So JBN ain't made his mind up. What you mean? He ain't convinced. What convinced him in 1881? This is what's so revealing about this book. You dig what I'm talking about? It reveals JBN's mindset pre-oahspe. Right? Let's go read a little further. It says, I have only investigated it for 17 years. So that means, think about this. That means in 1874, if you add 17 years away from that, that means in 1957, JBN really started his mediumship game and really started looking into this spiritualism. While men like Kardec had all the way over in France, the Fox sisters and all type of things had gone on in the previous 20 plus years. You know what I mean? Or the beginning of the arc cycle of Cosmology, 1848. Right? This is 1857. JBN starts to get his feet wet. 17 years later, in 1874, we have spiritalis. And he's saying, even then, my mind ain't made up. He said, I have only investigated it for 17 years only. It is true. I have seen, listen to what he say. Listen to what he say, y'all. He say, it is true. I have seen hundreds of mediums and perhaps 1,000 communications. So this hit back to when we read the personal life story of JBN, and we find out that this dude was a rock star. He wasn't no spirit charlatan. He was a real medium that other mediums would go get to try to prove out the fake ones. This is why JBN has seen hundreds of mediums in his 17 years. And he said 1,000 communications. And I have had the slate writing, that's that writing on automatic writing, and pencil writing on paper, both independent of fraud or personal contact. So JBN is saying in 74, I seen automatic writing. I know it's real. That whatever's happening, ain't nobody touching these people or nothing. You know what I mean? It's funny. 7 years later, that's the style it comes in, but is the first person to do it on a typewriter. Trading in the pencil for the typewriter and the paper for the slate. Right? And when they talk about slate, they talk about little chalkboards. You know what I mean? He said, I have seen slate writing and pencil writing on paper, both independent of fraud or personal contact. I have also seen so-called materializations, and I have witnessed the healing of the sick by the laying on of hands. And I have heard the uneducated speak intelligently in languages unknown to themselves. Still, I haven't made my mind up. What you mean, JBN? Huh? He done seen all this and he still don't get it? Does that prove that the angels was right? Huh? To put him through a spiritual gymnasium of sorts, to get him buff spiritually, to get him prepared to do the work that he needed to do. Because look, 7 years before oahspe, he said, I still haven't made my mind up. I done seen the pencil and the writing on the paper. He say both independent of fraud. That means ain't no game in this. He ain't playing. Or personal contact. He seen it happen. The pen just start writing. He said he didn't see these so-called materializations, these so-called ghosts, these spooks. And he said, I still haven't made my mind up. Interesting. I found that super interesting that This proves JBN is man. Even with all this shit in front of his face, and anybody who's actually ever had a spiritual experience, right? Even though you've went through them, right? And this is speaking from personal experience, they're still hard to believe. So I get JBN. It humanizes him. You know what I mean? Because he's saying, God damn, man, this shit so, this is so crazy. I see it and it's hard to believe. He said, I haven't made up my mind that these things are done by the spirits of the person who once lived in this world. Now listen, the crazy part is he going against what oahspe say. Before he got oahspe, this is what he thinking. Right? Clearly, anybody who read oahspe, it says that the spirits, right, of the world are once living men, the gods, the lords, whatever spirit. It's just a once living man. Right? That's exactly what oahspe teaches. JBN say, I don't even believe that for real. So it's amazing to see the transformation and to know that he's going through a step of purification, and this is year 4. He lets his feelings be known year 4, right? Year 11, year 10, year 11. Ooh wee. You dig what I'm saying? And it's funny how it's an old. Yeah, but anyways, right? In the materialization, I have seen what look like living bona fide human beings, both at Eddie's and at Moravia. They came without fraud. That much I will stick to as long as I live. He's saying, nigga, I don't care what y'all say. I seen this. He say they went away like the light of a candle when it is extinguished. And there was no more of them after the seances than is to be seen of the comet this day. But still my mind is not made up that these things are explained by spiritualism. The mind of JBN, y'all. Interesting. Now, what lock it all in, right, is wait till we get down here and we see what the spirits say. Watch this. The other conclusion is that though the phenomenon do occur, they are but the result of a living magnetism or electricity. Now listen to what he's saying. This is the nigga who brought us vortex. Still trying to explain it in his limited understanding as magnetism and electricity. This is how we know he couldn't have made this shit up. He didn't even have it in his thought process. Nobody did. He say the other conclusion is that though the phenomenon do occur, they are but the result of living magnetism or electricity. JBN knew in 1882 that so-called magnetism and electricity is but one force misnomered. Look at his mind 7 years before. He's trying to explain what he's seeing. Right? We see the culmination in oahspe, but look at the seed, right? Dig this. They are but the result of a living magnetism or electricity belonging to the living body of the medium. What do we know that is? Vortexia. These assume, therefore, first, that there is such a magnetic power in mediums, and they then try to prove their assumption by quoting the phenomenon. He would, this is crazy. I do not affiliate in this pamphlet with either of these. He say, but I only show up the doctrine taught by these apparently intelligent occurrences. He calling the spirit interactions occurrences. Okay. In this pamphlet, the questions are mine. Hold on. Let me make sure I can be heard. All right. 1 second. All right. Therefore, it is no expression of any other spiritual Oh, excuse me. My bad, y'all. Let me go back up. I do not affiliate in this pamphlet with either of these previous ideas, but only show up the doctrine taught by these apparently intelligent occurrences. In this pamphlet, the questions are mine. This is what JBNs is saying. The answers are from the so-called spirits. He said so-called. That blows my mind. It is, in fact, a general summing up of the spiritual doctrine that has been brought about by my own investigations. Therefore, it is no expression of any other spiritual doctrine. For, be it understood by those unacquainted with tile subject, all the so-called spirits have a right to return to earth and preach whatever they please. Right? And the spirits do differ so much. But are they really spirits? That just blows my mind that JBN is questioning this. You dig what I'm saying? Do y'all get what I'm saying? I'm gonna put the PDF. Let me see if I can. How do you copy and paste it? Either way, I'll put it in the chat or I'll drop it in the group for everybody. Whatever. You dig what I'm talking about? You know, we show all the sources. But it blows my mind that Mr. Spirituality himself, JBN, he don't even believe this shit. Y'all see? Y'all see what I'm saying? He say, excuse me. He's saying, but are they really spirits or are they principles belonging to a certain persons called mediums? He's saying, does this come out of the idea or the mind of the medium? The funny part is they say the same shit about JBN today. So the same questions that he being put forward towards him today, he had towards all spiritualists during his time. JBN ain't believe none of this shit. So if y'all think it's just came up out of his mind, But watch what the spirits say. Now we can tell that. Watch this. Wait. Let me finish this. No matter, let those prove it that can. We want the doctrines. He said. Well, let me go back. And spirits do differ so much, but are they really spirits, or are they a principle belonging to certain persons called mediums? No matter, let those prove it that can. We want the doctrine, right? And this is what's in the book. And let's get right to the questions and answers. Now, I want y'all to notice, right, the tenor, right, or the tone of the spirit who is answering the questions. I want y'all to know or notice the direction he's speaking from, right? He's speaking from a person who is up telling the story down, right? But you can also tell that he's still a low spirit. Even though he's telling truth, It's not as clear. And there's some things he doesn't know. You dig what I'm talking about? He hasn't got to that point in his education. But then we see in oahspe that clear, higher light expressed on all things. So even with the answers, bro is on point with in this in spiritalis. But notice that the answers he give are given in oahspe, but just with light years more clarity. Even some of the questions that JBN asks that the spirit can't answer are answered in oahspe. I want y'all to notice that. Notice this is not the story of a man telling a story from the ground looking up, trying to explain the heavens. This is a story from the point of view of a person that's up, who's looking down at the earth, telling the story. Right? I want y'all to notice that. That's the point of view. And then notice the tenor and the answer of the questions. And then if you read oahspe, this stuff it's going to hit home, but oahspe gives a light, the clarity is so much more. But you could tell that this spirit was in line. First of all, this is 1874. Nigga, ain't nobody about to watch this. Just watch this. Now remember, this is JBN asking the questions. He's saying, 1, can we reflect and acquire new ideas while our physical bodies remain motionless? Spirit says you can. Thought and reflection are the exercise of spiritual bodies. They may be either separate or in connection with the physical organization or the body. He say, what are spiritual bodies? Listen to the spirit. Spirit says they are subtle, ethereal substance, somewhat resembling electricity and magnetism, but having the capacity of individuality. Is he right, y'all? Yes, in a sense. But we see this with clarity in oahspe. Oahspe says man was created from the things that existed before him, right? And notice, right, he still didn't tell us where the life come from. That's in oahspe. But you can see he's on point, right? He say what are spirit bodies? They are subtle ethereal substances, somewhat resembling electricity and magnetism, right? Electricity and magnetism, ain't that light? But having the capacity of individuality. Creator said, because I am the all person, I gave you a personage, all to your own. Whence their origin? So he's asking, where do spirits come from? Look what the spirit said in 1874. And then look how it's written. JBN ain't know none of this. He ain't know none of this. Y'all see what I'm saying? Look what this is not JBN talking. This is the spirit talking. He made a differentiation from Jehovah and even the Jehovah of the Mormons. Right? We see it. You ain't never seen Jehovah spelt with an I before. Never. From the Bible to the Book of Mormons to the Book of Latter-day Saints, or anybody who ever took it upon themselves to print a Bible, they ain't never printed it like that. Remember this before oahspe. You say, where do spirits come from? You say, originally from Jehovah, Yahweh, Ioah, Ormaz, Egoquim, Eloah, originally from the creator, the source of life and thought. But they are also generated into new individualities by the union of physical bodies, male and female. How are these new individual spirits germinated? Look what he say. Let me scoot it over a little bit. How are they germinated? The spirits say, such is the law of Yahweh, that the seed of physical bodies coming together under certain conditions causes a new life to spring into being. You have seen that an acid and an alkaline solution put together in one vessel causes a violent exercise and neutralization of the two chemicals. Facts. This is decomposition or death. The opposite of this, or life, is the germination of spirit in the union of the sexes. In the egg, listen to what he's saying. In the egg, these two properties may remain dormant for considerable length of time, but by the application of heat. What did Simu bring? Remember when Simu rained on the planet? It brought water, heat, oxygen, and life. So by the application of heat, they change into a quickened spirit with a new physical body. Incarnation, not reincarnation. The body is borrowed from what? Other substances. But the spirit is a new individuality. In many mammals, the germination of spirit is direct and begins with the beginning of the physical body. Was he correct? Let me see. Let's go. Hold on. Let's look in oahspe real quick. See if the bro was correct. Was he correct? Let me see. All right. Let me see. All right. All right. Let's go. think it's Book of Jehovah. Let me look at this shit real quick. Chapter 4. Let me make sure. Because yep, let's look right here. All right. I'm going to use that one, but all right. Okay. It's chapter 4. Now let's look back in here right here. By the application of heat, they change into quickened spirit with the new physical body. The body is borrowed from other substances, but the spirit is a new individuality. In many mammals, the germination of spirit is direct and begins with the beginning of the physical body. Right? Let's go see. Right? Let's check this out. Book of Yahweh 4. Right? I made man 4 and 7. I made the corporeal man belonging to the unseen, but the spiritual man I made as one within the unseen and everlasting. Did y'all catch it? I made the physical or corporeal man belonging to the part that can be seen, but the spiritual man I made as one within the unseen. As the corporeal man perceives corporeal things, so does the spirit man follow upward the evaporated corporeal entities of things. As corporeal things are tangible to the corporeans, so are spirit things or S things tangible to the spirits of the dead. Right? Also, hold on one second. One second, y'all. All right. Let me show y'all this too. This book of knowledge. Book of knowledge. Yup. And the backup, exactly what the spirit is saying. Hold on. All right. Let's go and look what he says again. Let's go look what the spirit says. In the egg, these two properties may remain dormant for a considerable length of time, but the application of heat through friction, aka sex, they change into a quickened spirit with a new physical body. The body is borrowed from other substances, but the spirit is a new individuality, a new one. In many animals, germination of the spirit is direct and begins with the beginning of the physical body, And he's saying in many mammals, but what he should have said also was in man. Because let's see what Yahweh say. All right. Out of the darkness, this is the book of knowledge 2 and 24. Right? For those keeping up. Book of knowledge 2 and 24. Out of the darkness, man is brought forth a blank. His entity is a spark of Yahweh. His entity will never cease to grow. Yes, from the hour of conception, it is a new star in the world, and it magnifies itself forever. Right? Hold on. And this is what the man is trying to explain here. That the spirit is new, but the physical body is borrowed. Right? He said, yes, from the hour of conception, it is a new star or spirit, and it magnifies itself forever. Look what also it said. Dig this, dig 25. For man, the trials of it's crazy. The sisters was just talking about in the chat that they still couldn't wrap their mind around that loss, suffering, some of this, taking L's is part of the game. That you gotta lose to win. Because if you don't have the experience, how do you know? You see what I'm saying? The sisters was just saying that. Look what oahspe is saying. For man, right? For man, let's blow this up a little bit. For man, the trials of flesh are like nutriment for his spirit's growth. Let that sink in a second. For the trials of man, for man, right? Or let me go back. For man, the trials of the flesh are like nutriments for his spirit's growth. And yet, do not think you should rejoice in your neighbor's trials, saying it is good for his spirit's growth. But as Yahweh gave all he had and thus made all things, be like Yahweh and give to the man in trial, lest you rob yourself. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. If y'all getting a little something out of this, man, hit your boy with a 2 in the chat, man. I'm gonna put the Terrence, I'm gonna figure out how to put the link to this PDF in the chat, and we share it all, dog. You dig what I'm talking about? We share it all, cuz you know what I mean? We don't hide nothing, man. If y'all got a little something up out of this, man, hit your boy Cosmonium with a 2 in the chat. You dig what I'm talking about? Shout out to the Creative Gang and all my family for showing through. Young Malachi Maccabee. Hey, man, if y'all didn't go watch that lesson on Creative Gang TV, yeah, as a matter of fact, go over there, sub right now. Sub, like, share. Creator Gang TV. Sub, like, share. Go to Honor and Humility. STL. Sub, like, share. Sela Shalom. Bronze Yoke. Sister Huber's Kitchen. Y'all go over there. Prince Yahuda. Y'all go over there and check out that Malachi Maccabee breakdown on the Flavian, Alexandrian, Herodian connection to the authorship of the Bible. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That thing's so ugly. Ooh, listen, bro. You can't get around it. The historical nature, you can't get around. You dig what I'm saying? You can't get around it. Let me take this up off of there. Let me take this banner up off of there, y'all. Let me see it a little more. Right? Let's go a little more into this spiritalis, right? He say, where is the abode of the spirits? Right? Spirits say any place. They inhabit gross matter at first, but they also float in the air and even into the highest ethereal space. What are you talking about in 1874? James Clerk Maxwell had just even expressed the thought of ether. This was just a theory still. What are you talking about? The highest ethereal places. That's because Jehovah revealed to us that that's the point of your whole life. You dig what I'm talking about? To finally inherit the Ethereal kingdoms. But the question is, how are you doing this in 1874 when don't nobody know about no Ethereal kingdoms except oahspe? How? Let's go look at this real quick. Hold on. Let me go back up here. Hold on, y'all. All right. Let me show y'all. Here we go. Book of Yahweh. 2 and 2. Right? Surgical with this bitch, Jake. Hey, oahspe just got the masses, man. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Now, mind you, this is not God talking. This is not the Lord. It's not the Lord God. It's not the Lord of hosts. This is the Creator himself speaking. The guy who makes God. This is him speaking. He say, I created the earth. Well, wait a minute. But the Bible start off with plurality, with Elohim. Like it's a bunch of niggas there. No, Yahweh say, I created the earth and fashioned it and placed it in the firmament. Uh-oh. So the firmament ain't what y'all think it is it? It ain't some old spooky old dome. Nope. It's the vortex. It's our atmosphere. The water that's separating above, that's separating the water from below, is the ether. Space. It is a liquid type substance. Yeah. So when they separate the water from the water, yeah. That's exactly what our atmosphere does. Or watch a bubble being blown in water. That's all I'm saying. I created the earth and fashioned it and placed it in the firmament. And by my presence, not nobody else. Ain't no Jeebus here. Ain't nobody on side of this dude. He said, by my presence, brought man forth a living being and gave him a corporeal body so that he could learn corporeal things. So it's a reason why you stuck your hand in that fire to find out that fire was hot. It was a reason when your grandmama told you to put that goddamn helmet on before you go ride that bike and you went out there and you fell and bust your head. It was a reason. Why? Jaja say, I gave you a physical body so you can learn physical things. He said, but then I made death so that he, man, could rise in the firmament and inherit my Etherian worlds. Nobody is talking about Etherian worlds before this time, 1881. So what the hell is this spirit talking about Etherian space and all this in 1874? When Maxwell he's just theorizing about it. He's the greatest scientist in the last 200 years. It took Heinz Hertz to prove it. It took Tesla to prove it. But that brother was on point, and this spirit is beating him to the point. How is oahspe doing this, yo? Listen, are spirits perfect when first germinated? He says, no, they are not. Nothing is perfect save Yahweh. Yeah, y'all gonna get it one day, man. Shout to the Creator Gang, man. You bring them, we raise them. Nothing is perfect save Jehovah, who is the center and circumference of all things. Spirits grow with the gross bodies where they are germinated. But afterward, when the gross material loses its power of absorption, which is physical death, just like our planet, when it loses the power of absorption or being able to produce heat, light, sustain life, right, which is physical death, the spirit leaves it. Dang. Is it then perfect? Look what he's telling. Ain't nobody else telling you this. Right? No. Is it then perfect? No. Only an oahspe tells you it's onwards and upwards forever. There are gods who are billions of years old, who are no closer to Yahweh today than you are, than they were a billion years ago. Yes, do they have all the power? Do they have all the, yes, they got it, but you are still, they still that much greater than you. Soon as you think you done travel to a billion physical worlds, and you think you about to get to the edge, Jaja just open up more glories. Ain't no stopping to it. Nobody ever in any spiritual text expresses this idea that ain't no mountain high enough. Everybody else, shit. Osiris, they tell you to be one with Osiris. They told you to be one with Ahura Mazda, Buddha, Brahma, Allah. You going to the dua with him. There's been no spiritual text that tells you there is progressive ascension. Besides oahspe, and now a spirit from a goddamn book that the nigga who writing it don't even believe in it. Huh? This is what I'm saying. This is why you just can't shoo this stuff to the side. This is why it's not Dr. Seuss, because you can't explain how it's there. Ain't no way. Right? He said, is the spirit perfect? Then he said, no. But if it is profited in knowledge and purity, it will have some strength to ascend into a large and more exalted field of action. Huh? Notice he talking about spirit rate. Where? How is he? We're going to keep going. How is it possible for a spiritual body to exist after the destruction of the material or gross body, where it was germinated and out of which it had its origin? Now, JBN would have, a faithist wouldn't even preface the question in this way, that the spirit has its origin in the body. This shows you how far JBN was away from truly receiving this light. Wouldn't no faithists today say the spirit is germinated out of the body where it had its origin? We know that's sourced from Yahweh. It just animates. It's like he said, the electricity, the body, the unseen movement, the mind, right, of the physical body. Let's see where we at. He say, but let's read it again. How is it possible for a spiritual body to exist after the destruction of the gross or material body, where it was germinated and out of which it had its origin? Right? This is what JBN asking. It's showing you where his mind state is. Even as the friction of two bodies will produce electricity or magnetism, can be impregnated with steel without excuse me, impregnated within steel without the destruction of the original body, right? This is how you make a magnet. So is the spirit produced. Damn. That was actually a dope analogy. He said, listen, he said, even as the friction of two bodies will produce electricity, or as magnetism can be impregnated within steel, without the destruction of the original body, so is the spirit produced. The spirit has not its origin at the expense of the physical body, but is the result of the union of the principles. Life and death are opposites, and acid and alkali will combine to die, but the seed of the living bodies combines to live. So it must be alkali to alkali. A combination of dead substances produce death. A combination from the living produces life. The nearer perfect the physical bodies are, so much greater is the strength of the spiritual body produced. Nevertheless, the spirit, once germinated, has an independent existence and is nurtured on the electrical or spirit principle in nature, even as the physical body is nurtured on the earthly bodies. Therefore, the destruction of the physical body does not destroy the spirit. Interesting. Now, JBN asks, does the spiritual body require spiritual food? Oahspe gives this answer clear and resolute, right? As yes, right? Just like the spiritual body, the physical body requires physical food. Your body eats the spiritual or gaseous or atmospheric, what some people like to call quantum. I would say it's expressed in terpene, smell, or that's the scientific name, taste, or something you would come off of. But the gaseous part, right? What we would label as the smoke. This is why, and the proof of this is why your biblical deity always wanted you to burn the meat, because he can't eat the physical parties in spirit. So if you barbecue it, all the spirits can feast off the atmospheric parts of the dead and decaying flesh of animals. Just like they did, anybody who eat a sandwich today, you eating animals. It is what it is. But he says, does the spiritual body require spiritual food, even as the gross body requires gross food? Look what the spirit say. It does. While the spirit inhabits the gross body, it can absorb from the same food that which it requires. But when it has left the body, it absorbs spiritual food from other things. By spiritual food, it must not be understood that which dies, but that which lives. Not that the spirit is a cannibal and feeds on other spirits, for that would be death and contrary to its capacity, but it absorbs from elementary substances that which is electric or living or vortexian principle, which is its substance. What many of my modern brothers would call the quantum stage. The physical body can live only on bodies of things dead, but which once did live, and thence it too must die. But the spiritual body derives its sustenance from the opposite of these things, and so becomes eternal. How long Cosmon been telling y'all? Spirit and corporality, or spirit and flesh, are opposites. How you get rich in one is the opposite of how you get rich in the other. Y'all feel what I'm talking about? Or y'all need a little clear explanation? All right? Let me break it down to you like this. To get rich physically, right? You must take in, and you must hoard, and you must keep what you already have and constantly be taking in more. That's how you get rich physically, right? How you get rich spiritually is to constantly be giving away, always aggregating the spirit. You see what I'm saying? Right? Oahspe tells us clearly. And this is why the dietary laws are so important, because if you can't break these habits here, you're going to have to break them somewhere later. So this is, one thing that you wouldn't have to learn in the higher heavens if you mastered your diet here. Remember, he said, I gave you a physical body to learn physical things, but then I created death so your spirit can rise to the Etherian heavens. That's the whole purpose. Right? Let's get into a little bit more of this, y'all. He said the physical body can live, he said, but the spiritual body derives its sustenance from the opposite of these things and so becomes eternal. He asked, what proof have we that there is a spiritual or electrical body within us? Y'all got to remember, you know, this is before they knew about the true nervous system of the body. You know what I mean? You know, the lymphatic systems. They understood that there were systems there, but they didn't understand truly and how they work. You dig what I'm talking about? Anybody worth their salt in any type of biology will tell you we have an electrical spark system in our body. Just is what it is. All right? And it's attached to our neural brain centers. It's sparking them. That force that they keep calling electricity is in fact vortex. And this is why it moves in a certain way. It's always spiraling. Right? But he said, what proof have we that there is a spiritual or electrical body within us? Life, this is what he says, life, thought, and locomotion. If you don't believe that, all right, make that dead body get up and walk. It was something in that body that made that body go. That ain't in there no more. And yet that body is still there. So what made you you is not that physical body. So he asked him simply, how do you prove you got this spirit in you? He said, life, thought, and locomotion. He said, that which is dead moves not, nor has it any self-controlling power. That is, he said, that is proof of some quickening principle within us, but how shall we know that is a veritable body, that it is a veritable body? Right? He said, not a pin's point can penetrate your flesh without the spirit's knowledge thereof. Hence, the spirit extends to every part of the physical body and has its form and configurations. We're saying the spirit is shaped like the physical body, right? He says, when the pin's point has given you pain, which is the interruption of your electrical or spiritual action in the physical body, your whole consciousness is aroused. But when your spiritual or electrical power has ceased, which is the physical death, no consciousness exists in the body. Also, amongst you, there are some who have lost an arm or a leg. I used to know a nigga who told me about this shit. Right? He a weirdo now. He got into some voodoo shit, and I don't know, man. I don't know what happened to bro, man. He weird. He just make videos, and I don't know, man. He just weird, you know. But he used to always tell me about, bro, I can still feel my leg. It feel like it itch. He used to say it itch. He had got his leg cut off on the knee down. He used to say he could still feel his foot itching. Nigga, you ain't got no. So he's like, this is what the ghost is or the spirit is saying. He's saying also amongst you, there are some who have lost an arm or leg and are yet conscious of the spiritual presence of the lost member. Go ask anybody who has lost a limb, right? Ask them, for real, straight up ask them. Like, I don't mean to be mean, rude, or nothing, but is it true that when you got your limb cut off that you could still feel it? Like, you could feel your hand, and ask them and see what they tell you. Cosmo, I don't make this stuff up. I'm just telling you what I already know. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you what I know. Not nothing that somebody told me or I read it in a book somewhere. You dig what I'm talking about? The books just be confirming what I done already went through in my life or about to go through. Or you see what I'm saying? Huh? But go ask them. You any random person. You dig what I'm talking about? Be nice, but just be inquisitive. You see what I'm saying? And ask them and see what they say. You're going to be like, that damn Cosmo. And yet are conscious of the spiritual presence of the lost member. It matters not. Listen. So it be understood by you what the spirit is. Whether you do interpret it to your liking to be a veritable body or a veritable principle. Have all living bodies a spirit? He says they have. The spirit is life. So this is why it moves. In life is locomotion. Its extent and capacity are no secret to whoever may choose to learn of Yahweh's works. The ant that builds a house in the sand of the desert is a child of Yahweh. But human beings possess a wide range of thought and reflection. They have dominion over all other living beings on earth. In this, we caution you that you arrogate to yourselves no vainglory, but rather seek to know the glory and wisdom of him who fashioned the whole world. Right? And I know the sisters, who may be looking at this, who may not be readers of oahspe is saying, why is he saying, why are you calling the creator him? Right? How you know it's not a female? We know it's both. But why they call him is because he is the all positive motion. Watch this. Check this out. First book, first chapter, first verse. It say, the book of Yahweh 1:1. All was, all is, and all shall ever be. That is past, present, and future of all. All. Ain't nothing past all. All was, all is, all shall ever be. The all spoke. And what happened? Motion. Was and is and ever shall be. And being positive, right? We're talking about this motion, right? This motion being positive, meaning now it's moving, it's kinetic, or hence positive, right? Here it goes. Or hence positive. So we're talking about energy. We're talking about motion, right? Being positive was called he and him. And the all motion was his speech. And just so we know, we're not talking about God. We're talking about the nigga that make gods. Look what he said. Look what the word sounded like. Don't that make sense? You ain't even got to believe in the story. But if we saying this creator, which is outside of everything, but everything is of him, right? the first thing he would have to do is create everything. So basically, he would just say, I am. What else would he say? Everything is him. I am. That makes sense. What else would you say? When you everything and every word, you would just say, I am. And what happens? And he comprehended all things, the seen and the unseen. Nor is there anything in all the universe that is not part of him. So it's not a male chauvinistic point of view, because no, right? Because if you are all, you must be the female too. Ain't no up without no down. Ain't no left without no right. Right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here we go. It's Book of Jehovah 5 and 4. Right. We'll get back to it. But let's get back into some of the spiritalis, man. I'm gonna read this, but we'll go back to that, right? He says, they have the spirit is life. Its extent and capacity are no secret to whoever may choose to learn Yahweh's works. The ant that builds a house is a ant that builds a house in the sands of the desert is a child of Yahweh. But the human being possesses a wide range of thought and reflection. They have dominion over all other living beings on earth. In this, we caution you to arrogate yourselves, no vainglory, but rather seek to know the glory and wisdom of him, right? Now we see why we call it him, who fashioned the whole world, that you may ever bear in mind the very humble position you are in. For until you have passed through many births and many deaths, now you're not talking about coming back, being born into new physical bodies and being birthed again. This is talking about not reincarnation, but perpetual incarnation. Perpetually. Explained in oahspe, right? But look what dog bringing 7 years before. He only explained it as clearly as oahspe, but boy, he on point. For until you have passed through many births and many deaths. 3 deaths, 4 births. You don't understand. That's why the God number. You got to become a bride and a bridegroom. before you could ever be a god. You got to get there first. He said, until you pass through many births and many deaths. This is the layers of resurrection, really, just in the atmospheric heavens, right above us. Right? He said, you can't fathom the grandeur and perfection of the universe. Nigga, you can't even wrap your mind around it. Dude say, what? Shall the spirits die also? And he say, in language familiar to those in the flesh, yes. Listen. But speaking from the eternal throne, no. The spirit never dies. And yet, in the spirit world, there are countless millions endeavoring to comprehend the life that is to come after, even as you now seek to penetrate beyond the burial of your mortal bodies. He's saying, so you doing this in the flesh, right? He's like, there's people in the afterworld still trying to figure this shit out. He said, let's get a little more into this, man, and I'll open it up. You know what I mean? Well, actually, I got something to do in a little bit. I probably won't open it up, but we definitely gonna come back to a part 2. Let's get down into this though. Of the spirit while in the body. Has the spirit any capacity while it inhabits the gross body to do or act beyond it? This clearly lets you know JBN didn't know nothing about what oahspe had in it, because oahspe clearly tells you about objective and subjective spiritualists. This wouldn't even be a question for a faithist. Does the body act behind it? Yeah, what you think sleep is? In some organizations, it has. It can impart its own knowledge to another of a like capacity at considerable distances. He says, by what means? How does it do it? He say, it is itself an electrical substance, harmonious with inanimate electricity, the elements of which extend through all atmospheres. Where one spirit is in rapport with another, a current of thought passes from one person to another. Notice it has an asterisk right here. We're going to look at that. The most sensitive organ, however, for receiving or dispersing spiritual electricity is the eye. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy, right? oahspe agrees with him. You dig what I'm talking about? One who is asleep with this. This is crazy. This is crazy. How you fake this? One who is asleep can be awakened by another gazing on the eyelids, such as the normal spirit force. Explain this same way in oahspe. By looking at a person while they sleep, they'll wake up. He say that's the normal spirit force. We understand that unseen force is created by the vortex of our planet. It moves ether, it moves everything. The spin moves planet, everything. That unseen force called electricity, called gravity, called electromagnetism, called radiation, called you name it. Every unseen force that you got a different name for is all one. It's all the same force just reacting on different corporeal substances by different rates and spins, and just by where it is and by what's around it is the outcome, but it's the same force reacting everywhere. But there is an abnormal spirit capacity in which the person can permit the spirit to extend out of and beyond the gross physical body, to see and to know things at a distance. This is called clairvoyance. This is actually called, what is this called, family? Suis. This is called suis. And think about it. This spirit had to be, this is 1874, right? It's 1874. The spirit who is talking is using state-of-the-art, terms and stuff that common people wouldn't even be knowing. You dig what I'm talking about? My thing is just, how is this lining up with oahspe? How is this doing this? JBN don't know none of this shit. This is crazy. Before his memoirs was written, right? This story, I didn't know this. JBN, remember that asterisk? JBN tells a story, right? It's written in his biography called The Hidden Prophet by Susan B. Martinez. Man, y'all can go get that at Amazon. You dig what I'm talking about? But he tells basically this story right here. I didn't even know at first this story was first told 7 years before. But ever before it ever got in oahspe. You dig what I'm talking about? And if y'all don't know, in the 1891 second edition, it has the story of JBN in the back. And that's the first time I heard the story, but it was told 7 years before. Look what he say. Let me see. Let me go up a little bit. When I was a young lad going home from singing school one night, this JBN, I fell from a high bridge and was knocked senseless. At that moment, or thereabout, my mother, resident 2.5 miles distance, heard me say, "Mother, my head hurts so." So rigidly did she guard against the name of superstition that she concealed this fact for several years. I have heard of many such instances, but this is the only one I can verify myself, save such as will be hereafter related under another head. So this is actually the very first time I heard. This is the second time I heard the story, but actually the first time it was ever told was in spiritalis. How would you know if you ain't gonna read it? Right? You know what I mean? But y'all can that story is quoted in the biography of John Baloo Newborough. Also a good read. Check out Susan B. Martinez stuff on Amazon, man. She dope. Doc is dope, man. It says, how can the spirit travel out of the gross body and the body not die? It says the spiritual body can unite with inanimate electricity and travel thereon, somewhat as your physical body does. It keeps up a connection therewith and generally returns to it before death ensues, but not always. The asterisk. Remember that. Let's remember this asterisk. Then there are cases in which the physical body is asleep, during which the spirit has power to see and know things intelligible. You have those amongst you who have slept soundly even while they toiled on. I seen a Chinese dude working just the other day, knocked out sleeping. But he at the plant working, and his hand, he got a little flip these little things up. His hand just, he's snoring, but his hand going pop, 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 pop. He flipping that shit. I was like, dang, that's crazy. Now, notice this, the two asterisks. He say, which should be evidence to you that there is a spiritual body with you, capable of manifesting intelligence while the gross matter is unconscious. Furthermore, you all do know that you dream while you are physically asleep. You have, therefore, within you that which can think even while your bodies lie dormant and helpless. Dang. Okay. Now, this is from a judge named Edmonds. By having a circle at Boston and another in New York. Now, mind y'all, in the starting in about 1848, all the way through the early 20th century, the spiritualist movement was huge. They don't talk about it a lot, but it was massive, and it's still out there. And they try to take oahspe, and see, this is another reason I brought this forward, to show y'all that oahspe don't come out the spiritualist movement. It's a higher light. Now, the spiritualist movement started because of the higher light of Yahweh. Yes, we're not saying that. We saying what they coming with and what oahspe coming with proves the higher light. Right? We can see there are some common, I would say, oahspe speaking points or thought ideas. You see what I'm saying? That even this spirit has not come to yet. You dig what I'm saying? For instance, like vortex. But anyways, let's go further, because we'll close out in a second. Judge Edmonds, by having a circle in Boston and another in New York sit at the same hour, demonstrated the fact that mental questions and answers could be carried on successfully at great distance by the force above referred to. It will be seen, however, that this is not strong testimony of a life beyond the grave, since it appears to have been accomplished wholly by that which belongs to the living physical bodies. They still confused, man. These dudes is twisted. Remember, we're talking about spirit. We got to be talking about something you can't see. And these niggas are still trying to tie it to the thing you can see. You got to look inside you. When I look in my eyes, right? I don't know about you as a man. Every day I get up and I look in the mirror. You dig what I'm talking about? Just to make sure I'm still there. I'm still standing on what I'm doing, man. If you a man or a woman, man, and you get up in the morning and you make sure you look when you brush your teeth, wash your face, you look yourself in the mirror. Just to make sure you good, you centered, your soul's still there. Right? I know I can't be the only person that does this. You dig what I'm saying? But when I look in the mirror, I see a man. You dig what I'm talking about? But the thing that runs the man, that is that intelligence that I see it, right? as they explain it, like a spark in the eye. That's me. Right? The physical can't be me because I've been changing since I came out the womb. But that thing that's in there that it experienced everything, the physical body, is something different than who the physical body is. Huh? Right? To get back to that double asterisk, man, and we're going to close out real quick. We're going to come back with part 2 of Spiritalis, man, because this book is dope. You dig what I'm talking about? The book is dope. In Crossing the Plains in 1849, I often saw the overexhausted teamsters driving over difficult and dangerous roads while sound asleep. On coming to a hill, they would put on the brakes and lock the wagon exactly as if awake, and then unlock it again at the bottom of the hill. On being aroused, the poor fellows would become frightened in recollecting the dangerous places they passed safely. What distinction is there between the mere action of the brain and nervous system and that of the spirit? Says, and as the battery is the place where inanimate electricity is generated, so is the physical body the abode of the spirit for the time being. The brain and nervous system alone have no inherent power to save by the spirit, which has power even to destroy the whole body. Dang. Dang. You have also those amongst you whose spirit can go out of the body and read sealed papers. Huh? He talking about Sue at first now. Now he talking about ETH. Right? If y'all see what the spirit is saying is lining up with what oahspe is saying, let me get a 3 in the chat, y'all. Let me get a 3 in the chat, man. If y'all see that what this spirit is saying, right? Even though he not all the way there, but if you see, right, that he explaining not only objective and subjective seership, mediumship, and suis, but he's also explaining Eve, right? If y'all see that correlation, hit your boy Cosmonian with a 3 in the chat, man. Ooh, okay. I see the 3s coming through. That's what's up. He said, yeah, it just like that, Jawed, like remote viewing, right? But is remote viewing just subjective? Yes. He's saying there's a way to send your whole spirit to another place. And then Yahweh say, to get true knowledge, it must be experienced objectively. You have also those amongst you who can go out of the body and read sealed papers, and yet others who can acquire a knowledge of things, though all their external senses be blindfolded. The action of the brain and nervous system is contained within the gross body. The action of the brain and nervous system is contained within the gross body, nor can inert matter as a sealed letter act upon them. He say, how are thoughts read by the spirits? The spirit extends its normal condition to the surface of the body. And when one of the parties is positive and the other passive, the circuit is established so that the spirit or thought predominant becomes as one. Could this be why he says to keep your blood cool? Because inspiration and suez comes. You dig what I'm talking about? Through the alkalinity of the blood. Is this why he's saying to keep your blood negative and cool? Because if one has to give, which we want the spirit to give, right? We want the higher light, right? Okay. So if he's in a positive nature, right, you must be in a negative, or if he's in a going forth or giving, you must be receptive, or hence negative or alkaline. This shit crazy. All right. The spirit extends its normal condition to the surface of the body, and when one of the parties is positive and the other passive. When one is positive, one is negative. One is passive, one is receptive. The circuit is established so that spirit or thought predominant becomes as one. This is inspiration. Wow. I have been recently experimenting on this subject with a young man by the name of Brown at my house. Any one of us might hide a knife or other article, and he could, even though blindfolded, by holding such person's hand a moment, become so magnetized he could walk right off to the place it was concealed. Also, we might place our mind on any particular friend's name and he would spell it out correctly. But if we ourselves forgot the word or the place the article was hidden, then the young man would fail. Mr. C. Foster's clairvoyance is of a different character. So he was reading the vibrations. He was a natural source. I bet he didn't even know what he was doing. We would hand him any written number of names, folded so he could not see them, and yet his answers always proved to be responsive to each name, to each and every name. If, for example, I asked on the slip of paper, "Is it the spirit of my cousin Hattie Jones present?" he would answer for my cousin Hattie Jones, even though I had forgotten what was on the paper, and perhaps even though there never was any such cousin. This rather goes to prove that he has a faculty or a power to go outside of himself to learn what is written in the sealed paper. But that answer comes from his own. Intelligence, proved again in oahspe. He said the objective spiritualist wouldn't believe the subjective spiritualist. Yo, this is Jehovah Chronicles number 90. You dig what I'm talking about? Spiritalis, man. We got your boy JBN revealing a lot. You dig what I'm talking about? This is how I knew once I got into this, it was going to easily be a part 2. Easily. You dig what I'm saying? My thing is, how are you doing this? This is not simple. You dig what I'm talking about? This is not simple. Also, I made a claim last week, right? Or the last time I was live, I think I was with my brothers. You dig what I'm talking about? I said that, hold on one second. That there was a book that the Faithists had given to NASA, and that NASA still applies many of the Vortexian rules and the cosmology of space that comes out of oahspe, right? So I just wanted to give you a little background. I'll show you the book real quick so y'all can go on to Amazon and get this. Hold on. I want y'all to see this. The guy's name is Hugh Rose. Hugh Rose. The book is called Cosmogony, Oahspe Science. Cosmogony, Oahspe Science. I'm going to drop this in the back chat, or y'all can just go to Amazon. Hugh Rose. Faithist, right? Let me just show you what it say in the preface, right? In the biography. Hugh worked as an engineer with General Electric and later Honeywell. He took early retirement to devote time to oahspe science when he was in his early 60s, writing numerous articles for oahspe-oriented publications and was in communication with NASA concerning oahspe science. Later, it was learned that oahspe was studied by think tanks for its insights into the space science of cosmogony. His son, William, commented that he had a powerful intellect, being able to integrate being a scientist with being a mystic. Having moved to Phoenix, Arizona, he passed away November 23rd, 1998, at the age of 72. Scottsdale, Arizona. He was survived by his wife and son, William. So, we don't ever be capping. Hugh Rose, Cosmogony, oahspe Space Science, they've had this since 84. NASA uses why would you put a think tank together if it was just random bullshit and it didn't mean nothing? Huh? Why? Because we got the only observable cosmogony in the world. Let that sink in. Huh? Let it sink in for a second. Hugh Rose, Cosmogony, oahspe Science. This is what NASA used. Look. Cosmon, y'all. I want y'all to breathe in. Breathe in. Look, any of these books, you can go on Amazon and get them. They ain't no secret, right? So, I got to go get the youngins, and we gonna get this thing going, man. Love and light and balance, huh? Cosmon out there to the Cosmon children. You dig what I'm talking about? All love and light, and let Yahweh keep lightening your path. The great Echo Queen, huh? Love y'all, man. Breathe in. Let that light in, man. I'm Cosmon. I'm out.